Some of these contests were seen as tests for President Trump's control of the Republican Party, including one race that may go down as the most expensive congressional primary in history.
Thank you, folks. I just have a few remarks. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, Kentucky's 4th congressional district heard Ed Galrine just fine, handing him a big win last night with a voice that was amplified by his biggest backer.
I want to thank President Trump for his support, his endorsement, and his counsel as I navigated this campaign.
Galrine knocked off GOP incumbent Thomas Massie, who had been a thorn in President Trump's side on everything from the Epstein files to the war in Iran. And President Trump made it a mission to defeat him, even weighing in on Election Day yesterday.
Thomas Massie's a terrible congressman. He's been a terrible congressman from day one. Dealing with him is just horrible.
According to one analysis, that race broke all spending records for a congressional primary with plenty of outside money.
I had to call my opponent and concede, and it took a while to find Ed Galrine in Tel Aviv.
Elsewhere, too, Trump-backed candidates fared well yesterday, showing his grip on the party. But the upcoming midterm elections could still be bruising for Republicans, with the president's sagging approval numbers. And in Texas, Trump just endorsed GOP challenger Ken Paxton in his race to unseat Republican Senator John Cornyn in next week's runoff to face Democrat James Tallarico in November. That runoff is on Tuesday, and it could complicate efforts to keep that seat in Republican hands. In Washington, I'm Doug Luzader, Fox News.
I would have come out sooner, but I had to call my opponent and concede, and it took a while to find Ed Galrine in Tel Aviv. I did get the call through, though. I have called and conceded the race. We've been honorable the whole time, and we're going to stay that way. But here's one thing I saw on Fox. They were saying, oh my goodness, you know, we're ready for war. We're about to restart this war. We were supposed to restart this war today, but we can't restart this war today. The war can't start today. They said we got to wait a day. And then it occurred to me, where was the Secretary of War yesterday? He was here. Listen. Wait. No. Look on the bright side. No more wars. No more wars. No more wars. Guys, knock that off. You're going to make me feel good about losing. What I wanted to do was give you all credit. When they saw the influencers here, they panicked. They sent the Secretary of War here, and you stopped the war for a day.
I could not leave this stage without thanking President Donald J. Trump for his undivided. He didn't just endorse me once, not twice, not 3 times, even a 4th time. I was so honored to have that. He even put out a video today.
And when we win, President Trump will be a winner. I'll be President Trump's favorite governor. When he looks at Georgia, he'll see a state that is leading the nation, led by an outsider. As governor, I'll be like Trump, but with a Southern tone.
I am going to spend every day through November talking about my plans to make sure every Georgian has an opportunity to succeed. It means stopping Donald Trump every time his policies hurt Georgia, and also taking action here to make life better for people across this state.
There's a new option for travelers wanting to bypass long airport security lines or even save some coin on parking. And it starts at this first-in-the-nation facility, 22 miles from Logan Airport.
Every hour on the hour, we're going to be running secure buses from this remote facility to Boston Logan.
On June 1st, Massport will officially open the doors to the Logan Airport remote terminal off Route 9 in Framingham. For $9 tickets on sale now, eligible JetBlue and Delta passengers can book with their flight info. Park here for $7 a day and head in.
So I'll be entering after you drop your bags off and get your boarding pass. You'll be able to enter through here and go through a full TSA screening checkpoint lane, very similar to like you would at the airport.
After going through security screening, you'll then hop on this bus, which will take you directly to your terminal at Logan Airport, right up to your gate.
It's going to be more seamless, more convenient for the passengers and the traveling public.
It's a pilot program modeled after ones in Philly and Chicago that currently take connecting flight travelers tarmac to tarmac from regional to hub airports.
The stress and the headache that you experience when you're pulling up to a big airport, you're wondering how long is the baggage line, how long is the security line, all these kind of anxieties that come into your mind, we take care of all of those up front.
Security from facility to bus to the airside gate remains at top of mind.
You've got state-of-the-art equipment. This is all regulated just as if you're flying through an airport. And then for those of you who like aviation, you're gonna be ramp side, right? So you'll be among the airplanes walking up.
And airlines believe this experience may clear more remote terminals for takeoff in the future.
As we move through the future, we need to be willing to try new things, and I think this is an important part of that to, again, reduce some friction.
It was surreal, to be honest. I've never had it so close to home.
Evacuation orders and warnings continued Tuesday as the Sandy fire torched parts of Southern California for a second day. The blaze, burning in Simi Valley northwest of Los Angeles, started as a fast-moving brush fire Monday. According to CAL FIRE, it had grown to roughly 1,700 acres as of Tuesday night and was just 5% contained. Among the other blazes scorching Southern California, the Verona fire in Riverside County, which officials said had burned more than 400 acres by Tuesday night, with a firefighter suffering minor injuries. There's also the Bain fire in Riverside County. CAL FIRE said it stood at more than 1,300 acres as of late Tuesday. Another fire in San Diego County charred 1,000 acres. The flames in California coming as other parts of the country are still reeling from severe weather. Residents in parts of the central U.S. recovering from days of violent storms, including dozens of reported tornadoes.
Right now, it's just a community effort coming together.
People come together when needed.
Parts of the Northeast dealing with extreme heat.
We say anything's better than snow, but this is a bit ridiculous.
It's technically still spring, but in Massachusetts, summer jumped the gun with a wave of early season heat that prompted warnings in and around Boston. I'm Reed Binion reporting.
An alarming confluence of outbreaks across the globe is raising fears of a future pandemic like COVID-19. Hantavirus, Ebola, and measles, among other infectious diseases, are making headlines in the U.S. and raising questions over preparedness.
The measles outbreaks that are littering the entire country are a direct result of the fact that our public health preparedness, our respect for infectious disease, our respect for vaccines has completely eroded.
Experts say U.S. administrative changes since COVID, along with a slip of trust in public health institutions, are having an impact.
Prior to the Trump administration, USAID was there, CDC was much more robust. Those tools are much weaker now. USAID is completely gone.
President Donald Trump's withdrawal of the U.S. from the World Health Organization has constrained the ability of the CDC to communicate with it.
The CDC is not necessarily always at the table at the earliest possible juncture when there is an emergency.
Some public health experts worry these changes, along with deep cuts to the CDC, will make it harder for the U.S. to respond now and in the future.
The infrastructure cannot be built overnight. How much infrastructure is already there and how much has been decimated as a result of recent cuts, I think we'll only find out if we have trouble containing this outbreak, which of course is too late.
But there is some good news. Dr. Imish Adalja says there have been some key improvements in recent years.
When it comes to technology, innovation in science and medicine and tools, we are much more advanced now in 2026 than we were in 2020.
In Washington, Brian Abel reporting.
Target says its turnaround plan is working. Shoppers like its refreshed product assortment and improved customer service. It also introduced new products, store layouts, and its health department. Sales are up 5.6% in the recent quarter. Lowe's says its start to the year was solid. CEO Marvin Ellison says This spring, it was seeing demand picking up for its professional business, appliances, online shopping, and home services. Lowe's earnings and revenue topped estimates. People are still eating and ordering from Cava, the Mediterranean casual dining chain. Its business increased in the recent quarter. CEO Brett Schulman says diners are looking for affordable options. And after a 177-year run, one of America's oldest beer brands is calling it quits. Schlitz Premium was once one of the nation's largest breweries, but it is now being put on hiatus. Its parent company, Pabst, saying in a statement, quote, "Unfortunately, we have seen continued increases in our cost to store and ship certain products, and have had to make the tough choice to place Schlitz Premium on hiatus." The brand became famous for its slogan, "The beer that made Milwaukee famous." CJ Papa, Fox News.
To have the World Cup being in Kansas City is tremendous for the economy, but more, we can meet new friends with other countries and share things that we do in America. Just a little farm like us, they can learn how we make milk, butter, cheese, and ice cream, and we can celebrate and learn from them. We have a special bottle for each country that plays in Kansas City. And with that, we have special milks that we've not made anytime in 22 years. Chai latte for England, butter pecan, chocolate peanut butter, chocolate coconut, and I could go on and on.
For those that can't go to a World Cup game or Fan Fest, we want to bring those festivities to them in their local neighborhood through our scoop shops. And so we're trying to do a lot of that through some very unique releases of ice cream, which will be specific to every country that is playing soccer here in Kansas City, as well as those countries that are deciding to make Kansas City their home. Not many of us get to go to the World Cup games or to the Super Bowl or this or that, but we can all enjoy a scoop of ice cream or a pint of milk. And if that provides us an opportunity to kind of touch that event and to have a Kansas City twist to it, then we're excited to be able to offer that opportunity. While you're here, you're our neighbor, and we want you to come and enjoy the best that Kansas City has to offer. And it's been proven time and time again that Betty Ray's Ice Cream is that in Kansas City. Chateau Milk Company is that in Kansas City. And if we can get them up to a farm to milk a cow while they're here, we're all for it. If we can get them into our ice cream shop to try some ice cream that hopefully doesn't do too bad of a job of trying to replicate what they have at home, then we'd love to share that experience with them as well.
I have faith that we are going to do a lot of parking.
Restaurant owner Holly Abercrombie is making plans to change the amount on their parking sign. Airways Hamburgers on North Collins is one of the many businesses signed up to sell parking spaces during the World Cup games.
Parking brings us a lot of revenue, so whether they're buying food or not, we're still going to make some money off of it.
The City of Arlington's entrepreneurial parking program isn't new, but it's for registered businesses only. And during the World Cup games, 9 of them this summer, there is big money to be had.
Businesses around the stadium can apply for a special event parking permit to use their commercial lots to sell parking spaces.
There are rules and guidelines like lighting, parking attendants, and parking vendors must follow all rules.
It is against the rules to sell a parking space without the benefit of a permit.
The list of parking partners is still growing. Car lots, churches like Faith Tabernacle, all looking for a financial blessing from parking fees. A similar parking program is already underway in Dallas, where the Transportation and Public Works Department is in charge of issuing permits. Just like during Cowboy games at AT&T Stadium, Holly is not only counting on their parking lot filling up with soccer fans.
We're going to be selling hamburgers, hot dogs, good old American food.
They hope the restaurant will fill up too.
You have pictures of your kids and as they grow up, and from the time Hayden was like 3 to the time he was 16, he's always in the middle of the photo with his arms around everybody else who's in the picture with him. That's just who he was.
At 6'3", 200 pounds, this 16-year-old hockey star stood out. But it wasn't Hayden Thorson's size that made an impression. It's how he made people feel.
He was the guy who was quick with the joke. He never put anyone down. He always brought people together.
In May 2022, Hayden died by suicide.
When my son passed, a lot of people called, wrote letters, asked questions. Who's going to do what Hayden did for us now that Hayden's gone? And it took me a quick beat to realize what they meant by that was Hayden was the guy who checked in on everybody.
That's why the Shoulder Check was formed by Hayden's father. It's an initiative named after an aggressive defensive move in hockey, aiming to turn kindness into a contact sport by promoting 3 simple actions anyone can do to help someone who's struggling. Reach out, check in, and make contact.
We all need somebody to lean on.
Players from across the National Hockey League are helping to share the message that we all need somebody to lean on, and connection matters.
The 3 hardest words to say in any language aren't "I love you," but "I need help." Right? And if we can help people say those words, like I think that's a good thing.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
There's usually many factors people consider before deciding where to live, and as we age, research from sociology experts at Purdue University reveals the locations we settle down in could have impacts on our brain health.
Neighborhoods are important to how people live their lives.
After reviewing 8 years' worth of national data, Dr. Ken Ferraro and his team say older adults between the ages of 60 and 80 who live in communities that stimulate their cognitive functions had higher odds of keeping their brains sharper as they continued aging and were less likely to suffer severe mental decline.
Most important factors in cognitively stimulating neighborhoods that we found were museums, libraries, college-educated neighbors, as well as fitness centers and organizations for the creative arts.
But what about these environments proves helpful in maintaining brain function?
The idea is active learning. People could say, well, I get cognitive stimulation by watching TV. True, but that's a passive type of learning. When you get a neighborhood that values dramatic events, those are valuable for cognition in later life.
Meanwhile, these types of neighborhoods can also promote strong social connections, which are just as important.
We observe and we learn from neighbors because they share recipes and books that they've read or lectures that they've attended, and they influence us.
Gary Baumgarten, Fox News.
I have this fantasy that someone's going to come and sit down next to me. Like, I'm Meg Ryan. We lock eyes. Then it happens.
An unexpected romance. Zoe Deutsch meets the man who takes over her sister's phone number after she passes away in Voicemails for Isabel. Nick Robinson plays the unlikely suitor in the upcoming rom-com, which lands on Netflix on June 19th.
Give my creation life!
Mel Brooks's Young Frankenstein gets a new life. FX has reportedly picked up a new comedy based on the 1974 film. Zach Galifianakis stars in the reimagining, which plans to be a completely original take on the Gene Wilder classic.
You know what, dude? I'm going to be here when you're no longer working.
Cher turns 80. The legendary singer celebrates the milestone birthday May 20th. Cher first hit it big in Hollywood over 5 decades ago and is still going strong, most recently releasing a Christmas album and best-selling memoir. In Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella. Lego Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight lets gamers suit up in the cape and cowl of the Dark Knight in Lego form.
Do you mind if I borrowed these? The way I see it, all this stuff is yours anyway.
It's the definitive Batman story. It weaves together 80 years of iconic moments and will put you in the shoes of the Dark Knight, from young Bruce Wayne to the ultimate triumph as the hero and savior of Gotham City.
He thinks he works alone, but there's always someone there by his side.
Meow. You always play as Batman. That's the focus of this story. But you also always have an ally with you, and you can switch between them. And then as you grow through the story, so you have more and more different allies.
Leveling up in Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
Take a look at the best of otherworldly images showcasing the breathtaking beauty of our own gargantuan galaxy. Capping off its 9th year, the 2026 Milky Way Photographer of the Year contest, hosted by travel photography blog Capture the Atlas, saw some 6,500 submissions, the most in the contest's history. Curator Dan Zaffra whittled the field down to 25 winning images. All were taken under dark skies, far from light pollution, in various corners of the world, like Spain, where the spectacular Geminids meteor shower took center stage with a galactic backdrop, or this one from Italy titled Garden of the Stars, showcasing glowing stars above and twinkling fireflies below, or this magical view of a wizard-like figure posed atop a rocky outcropping in New Zealand, where the Lord of the Rings movies were famously filmed. The stunning shot is aptly named Galactic Gandalf. The full out-of-this-world Winners Showcase in all its gargantuan galactic glory can be viewed online at capturetheatlas.com. And from an infinite interstellar expanse to a teeny tiny tight one. That's what police and fire officials had to rescue a man in California from after they say he was trapped inside a wall for almost half a day. The Salinas Police Department reports 2 officers were getting coffee when they heard cries for help and knocking sounds. Fire officials responded and broke into a wall separating the coffee shop and a movie theater, breaking out a man they estimate had been in there for roughly 10 hours. Salinas PD says after being medically evaluated, the freed man was booked on burglary charges. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
For them, I'll be the best grandma ever.
If the love Lisa Bashirs has for her grandkids and family were in a wrestling match, it would be the main event.
And they just jump from high places. They go, I got the smackdown for you, the smackdown for you.
A couple of months ago, she emailed ABC 15 saying that a contractor that she hired to make her grandkids a mini padded wrestling ring in her backyard took hundreds of dollars in materials, then ghosted her, pinning her to the ropes financially.
No hard feelings, just would fix it. My grandkids did nothing to you. Just take it out on them.
After that story, a couple people sought to tag team in this match. Nice. Mariana Van Meter of Chandler saw the story and offered some high-density wrestling mats that her kids used growing up.
But a woman trying to do great by her family, and the wrestling resonated because we have wrestling in our family.
And that was the first piece for contractor Cesar Ontiveros of Lake Pleasant, who had a vision.
They're gonna love this part.
His son Israel is a big wrestling fan, but Cesar is a bigger fan of righting a wrong. This owner of a water restoration company not only bought the remaining materials for a real mini wrestling ring, but installed the ring in her backyard, complete with spring-loaded ropes, padding underneath all the vinyl, even the logo, all for free. He said he really just wanted to see the kids' reaction.
And make sure that I take care of the kids, and I don't like seeing other contractors take advantage of no one. So I like to step in those situations and make sure that our industry is covered with good contractors.
At first, 4-year-old Christian and 2-year-old Austin may have been a little overwhelmed.
Is this a ring? Yes, it's for you.
But after that first body slam off the ropes, this is a match that ended arms locked.
Yay! This is probably the best feeling I've ever had, so it's hard to explain it because I'm fixing to see my grandkids, their faces light up. It's gonna be amazing. You did it, you did it. Come on, Austin.
Given the 250th, we focused on ideas expressed in the Declaration of Independence, whose signing we're about to commemorate, that all human beings are created equal and are endowed with certain inalienable rights, and find places, sometimes unsung places, places that not all Americans routinely think about, where those ideas, this idea that all people are created equal, was actually fought for and made more concrete for more and more people. Stonewall, Seneca Falls, the Women's Rights Historic Park, the President's House, where 2 people seized their freedom, Tule Lake, which tells us the story of what happens when we forget that all people are created equal and unjustly incarcerate people, either because of their ethnicity or who are standing up for their rights. how we manage immigration. How can we learn from what happened to people who were simply trying to come into this country at Angel Island Immigration Station, Benmore Hotel? The civil rights movement was in part born in these Black spaces created as spaces of achievement and accomplishment at a time when the law of the land was Jim Crow. So these are really important places, and yet they're at risk. We will never understand our whole history. We will never fully grasp what it means to be an American and what our obligation is to these ideals if we don't learn about the people who have gone before us and fought to make these things that we enjoy now real for us.
Fox 54 Plus has your news, sports, and weather. Start your evening with Fox 54 at 5:30, delivering the latest headlines and live reports straight from the scene. Then, stay informed with Fox 54 News at 9, featuring your Tennessee Valley certified most accurate weather impact team, tracking everything from tornado threats to traffic delays during severe weather. Fox 54 Sports Extra brings you more of what sports fans crave, with deeper insights, expert analysis, and all the action that matters most. On Fox 54 Plus, you'll also find Alabama politics, plus 24/7 weather radar and real-time forecasts to keep you ahead of the storm. Looking for a quick recap? Don't miss Fox 54 Week in Review, highlighting the biggest stories of the week. Jumpstart your morning with Morning Rush, fast-paced news updates featured with uplifting stories from across the globe. Get your entertainment fix with Getting Real, where we break down movie reviews, top 10 lists, and spotlight the newest film. Die Hard fan? Locked On Sports dives deep into the Crimson Tide, the Tigers, college rivalries, and pro action. True crime warrior style? Killer Cases brings you gripping real-life stories that stick with you. Hungry for more? Cooking with Style serves up mouth-watering recipes that are easy to make and impossible to resist. From movie previews before you head to the theater with Take a Look, to must-know headlines from across the region and around the world with In the News. Watch all of these shows on demand and also on the Fox 54 News app, available on Android and iOS devices, streaming 24/7.
There's more to Fox 54 Plus with the Locked On Podcast Network. From the Tide to the Tigers, from college teams to pro, the Locked On Podcast Network gives you insights and analysis you just can't find anywhere else.
These kids, they want to play.
And I don't think so. I think it was Chad Baker Mazzara.
Locked On Sports, streaming every day of the week and right here on Fox 54 Plus.
This is what he's going to tell you.
Trying to find the first place to put a body.
No, sir. The only thing they could do was kill him.
Be the jury and to find the defendant